Hey y'all, it's me, Shawnese Henry with Life Happens. Now what? I just want to come on and just share something with you about the peace that I have been experiencing um, since my divorce. In 2019, when my divorce was final, of course, I've shared that um, an extremely hard time for me immediately afterwards. Of course, like who wouldn't be like devastated or just going through after signing papers to remove yourself from someone you intended to live the rest of your life with. Well, for me, I got divorced in 2019, and after my divorce, actually my paperwork, I chose to keep my house. Um, why did I choose to keep my house? Because it was my house, and I loved it tremendously. The house was like no other. The way I acquired the house was a story of amazement. It was nothing but God in the entire process of me purchasing that house. And when I got the house, um, it was it was years after struggle, after my first separation, um, moving from house to house, living with family members, so pretty much homeless, losing vehicles. Yeah, so getting the house was a huge thing for me, and being able to do that for my family was just, it was major. And my children grew up in that house. And although that wasn't the first house I owned, um, that's the house that my children remember. So it meant a lot. It meant a lot to me, not just because it was just a beautiful house. Um, the memories within the house with me and my children is just phenomenal. But anyway, so I chose to keep the house, and thinking that I would be able to move forward in my healing process in this house and eventually leave it to my daughters. I was doing okay with it, but November of 2019, I had to put my dog down. And for those of you who know me, you know I am a dog lover. Like, my pets are family, they're part of my family. My daughter has a little Yorkie, and she's my grand dog. I have a cane corso, or a cane corso. I'm sorry. And I took him from my dad. So my dad is actually the owner of him. So he's my brother, but he's been with me for, I guess, like maybe 2 years, and he's family. I can't see life without him, and I know that they tend to leave this earth before we do. However, it's still a hard transition for me. So when I lost my dog, I actually ended up having to put him down because he had cancer, and this all happened like around Thanksgiving. So here it is, 2019. Divorce was final the end of February 2019, and in November of 2019, I had to turn around and put my dog down. My dog was with me through everything I experienced within my marriage. He grew up with my kids, so not only was I attached to him, so were they. So it was a very hard time for us. We got through the holidays, and then you all know what happened in 2020. The panoramic pandemic kicked off. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. It sure did, and it shut everything down, causing us to all be in our homes. So yeah, I'm in my home after being divorced for 1 year, having to stay in a home where I'm used to pretty much just spending the night at home because my days were just so busy with work and everything. But being in it 24/7, and Um, Still healing good, but um, began to feel like staying in the house because I couldn't afford to replace furniture or anything was like really hindering the healing process for me. So at this point, I'm like, well, I wouldn't mind getting rid of the house because my healing and my peace is the utmost importance to me. However, my kids wanted me to really keep the house. So I was like, okay, well, I'll keep the house, and then at least until my oldest daughter, who was a sophomore in college at that time. Is she a sophomore? No, excuse me. She was a junior in college at that time. So I was saying that I will keep the house, and once she graduates, I'll just turn it over to her, let her handle it however way she want to handle it. And I'll just move out, go on my merry way. But that didn't happen. That didn't happen at all. So I started contemplating making renovations. Fixing the basement up, to like just changing things up. But then I started thinking about the numbers and I was like, yeah, no, I don't know if I'll be able to do all of this, if I can handle this. If I knew then what I know now. But but that's in the past. So I move forward differently now. A. But anyway, so once my daughter went back to school, is of course that was like 2021. Yeah, when she went back her senior year, um, she was actually offered a job where she interned after graduating from college, which meant she wasn't coming back home. So one day I was on the phone with three of my college friends, very dear, close friends of mine. So I consider them to be some of my best friends. Um, and we were talking via text message, and one of my friends was showing us pictures of her renovating and changing up some things in her parents' home, and she was doing so good, and just we really was impressed with the amount of work that she had done to the home and what she was doing and everything. And I just pretty much shared what I was going through, and I was and telling them that I just really feel like this is stopping my healing process, moving forward and things. Now that I'm divorced and everything, so they were willing to come to the house, do paint parties and everything. But it wasn't just changing the paint on the wall; it was the furniture in the house. It was the darkness that was still lingering in the house that was like it felt like it was just hovering over me and I just could not get from underneath it. So and I told him, I said, but I'm trying to keep the house because my kids want me to keep this house. And they lovingly told me that it may be time for me to sit down and talk to my kids and just let them know what I'm going through and to ask them if they will be okay with me selling the house. I did just that. I set my girls down and I talked to them and just shared with them how I really wanted to keep the house and everything because it's a beautiful house and they have some good memories. They have some bad memories as well. But it's a beautiful house. It's a house that they grew up in. Um, but it was harm. It wasn't helping me. Um, and being that, and I shared with them that being that my oldest wasn't coming back home, the plan that I had put in motion or put in place wasn't moving because she wasn't coming back home. Therefore, I was thinking about selling the house and asked them if they would be okay with me selling the house. Now, a lot of you may think or question why I'm asking my children if if it's okay with them if I sell my house. Well, I'm a firm believer that children have voices. They have a say so because our decisions and the way we move in life, it affects them as well. Now, of course, there are a lot of things that take place that I don't discuss with them. I just make the decision, but I always take into consideration how it will affect them and the rest of my family. But in this situation, because they had already gone through so much, so much, and I didn't want to cause any more pain on them if I could help it. Therefore, I wanted them to hear me, and I wanted to hear them. We sat down and we talked. Um, my oldest daughter as an adult, and my youngest daughter as a teenager, just allowing her to share her feelings and express herself. But anywho, they they are amazing. They didn't have to think about nothing. Immediately, immediately, they told me my healing and my happiness was the most important. And if that's what I needed to do, then let's do it. When I tell you all, I am blessed. God blessed me when He blessed me with my children. Listen, listen, let me tell you. I did not think, I did not think I would have the type of children that I have because of how all the heck I put my parents through, all the heck my ex husband put his parents through. We were not good kids. Like, listen to me. And you know how they say that the way you treat your parents, it comes back in your children. When I say I prayed hard, because I don't know if I would have been able to survive. So I thank God every single day for blessing me with the children that He blessed me with. They are amazing. They are so amazing. Thank you, God. I'm so thankful to God for blessing me with those two. But anyway, so from there, 2021, by the end of 2021, my house was on the market, and it sold within 30 days. Within 30 days. So why am I telling you this story? I'm sharing this with you because in that house, although I experienced a sense of peace once I signed my divorce papers and everything, it was a peace that God had given me that I needed for moving on with the divorce. Because previous years, I couldn't get the divorce because I didn't feel the peace. I didn't have the peace from God that I needed to feel. But this time, it was the peace that surpasses all understanding. The peace that surpasses all understanding is what I had for me to move forward with that divorce. So, yes, I did. But being in that house was not peaceful for me. It was still, like I said earlier, it was still dark. It was still a lot of bad memories that I just did not need to be just sinking in. Sleeping in the same bed that I shared with my then husband, the couch, like everything was still connected to that marriage, and I just needed to be done. So not only did I sell my house, I threw away whatever was trash. I gave away whatever was good enough to give away, and I sold whatever somebody wanted to buy. When I say I left the house and everything, and I started over. I started over, and where I am now, the house that I'm in, the area that I'm in, my space is so peaceful. It's so peaceful. I don't mind sitting here all day by myself or with my kids or with my family because it's so peaceful. It's so comforting and it's so welcoming. And I can feel God's presence in every room in this house. And I'm so thankful for that because I've never experienced or never felt this type of peace ever in my life. Ever in my life. And I just want to encourage someone out there, even if it's just one person. I don't know what you're going through, I don't know what you're dealing with. You know, and God knows. Whatever toxic situation that you may be experiencing, that you're going through, whether it's divorce or it's cheating or it's separation, whatever it is that's not healthy for you, I pray to God that you find the strength from God, that you get the strength that you need from God to move on with your life. I promise you There is life on the other side. There is healing on the other side. I'm talking about once you remove yourself. And I know it's scary, it's not easy, but you have to trust God and you have to know that you are enough to move forward. You are enough to be happy. You are enough to have happiness. You are enough to have peace. You deserve it. Who doesn't deserve peace? Who doesn't want to get off work or, just be able to come home to a peaceful environment? I don't know anybody who wouldn't want to experience that. So either you can change the situation where you are right now, or you can change the situation by moving out of the situation where you are right now. I don't condone any type of unhealthiness. First, try counseling. Do counseling. You do everything in your power that you're supposed to do as a husband or as a wife. You fight. And when you have that peace to move on if need be, the peace from God, then that's when you move on. Other than that, you continue to do your part and you fight. But until next time, take care of yourselves, love yourselves, and remember that you are enough. Life happens. Now what?